everyone. Michelle Seidling here with another episode of Food Experience Unplugged. Today we are talking about all things nature and plant-based. And who better to talk about it with than Krysta Francoeur, the founder of Wild Remedies. Krysta, welcome to the podcast. This podcast is available on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed as new episodes become available. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of our episodes, please rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform. As always, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some resources as you begin your health journey.
And thank you so much for having me, Michelle.
Oh, pleasure to have you. Of all things nature and getting in touch with nature, will you take a moment to introduce yourself and why Wild Remedies, why the desire to be in tune with nature and botanicals and all of that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, again, my name is Krysta Francoeur, and I am a creator of all things beautiful. I've had a long 14-year career as a brand designer, and I've fairly recently transitioned into being a CEO of a health food company called Wild Remedies. And at Wild Remedies, we make products that harness the beauty and the magic of nature to help people become healthier and more mindful, and also strive to conserve wild places and honor Mother Nature. And I ended up making this transition, I guess, like most health food entrepreneurs. It seems that everybody starts out because of their own health journeys. And I've struggled with health stuff my whole life, ever since I was a baby, essentially. And growing up, I took a lot of pharmaceuticals, a lot of antibiotics due to constant throat infections that I used to get. By the age of 14, I was starting to get panic attacks. The depression started to set in. And by my 20s, I had massive weight gain. I had huge inflammation at that point, which was, diagnosed as these mystery illnesses like fibromyalgia and adrenal fatigue. And it was extremely hard for me to get through the day. And at that point in my life, I was still asleep in a sense. I felt that these were the circumstances that I was dealt, and I was completely powerless to do anything to change those circumstances. I knew nothing about nutrition or health and wellness. I wasn't connected to nature at that point. I'd always deeply loved nature and, found it to be very magical. I live in British Columbia, Canada, which is a very beautiful area of the world. And growing up, we would go to visit my grandparents who live on Vancouver Island, which is home to our coastal rainforests. And so growing up there, I absolutely loved going to the forest, but I knew I loved it, but I didn't really understand the spiritual connection. At that point, I didn't really have a spiritual practice. And so during this period of time where I just continued to get sicker and sicker and sicker, I just kind of had like a rock bottom moment, I guess. I was just at my absolute heaviest. Things were just so difficult. I remember just being in so much pain and just hating my body and not just barely being able to get out of bed. And I was self-medicating a lot. And so I always tell the story about how Netflix saved my life. I was probably hungover or something one day watching Netflix, and I came across one of those documentaries. I think it was like Forks Over Knives or Hungry for Change, something like that. And it was just such a huge paradigm shift for me. I was like, there's companies out there that are purposely putting ingredients in food in order to make you addicted. Like that's totally crazy. I was eating just garbage food at the time, right? Like definitely not enough whole foods, live foods, greens, that sort of thing. And so my eyes were really open to the healing power of nutrition. And also during that time, I stumbled upon The Secret, the documentary as well. Those things were like, really popular at that time. And that was also a really big paradigm shifter for me. So at that point, I just kind of went full force and dove into all the things. And I think the first thing I did was, do like a vegan cleanse for a month or two, which made me feel a lot different. And I was like, wow, okay, I have more energy. Like this is fantastic. So I think I actually followed, I became vegetarian for 4.5 years and just got very interested in all the, different aspects of, plant medicine, plant foods, and, slowly started to improve my health. Also understanding that we are not victims of our consequences, that we can change our reality, by what we think and, what we put out into the world. And so in a matter of months, I went from, being in a pretty sorry state of affairs to selling everything that I owned and moving overseas to work for a company called Mindvalley in Malaysia. And Mindvalley it's a fairly famous personal growth company. And I was there for 2.5 years, which offered a lot more personal growth, as you can imagine. And during that period, I started to get interested in, potentially creating a product of some sort. I had, for years been designing and building beautiful brands and packaging and things for other companies. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I want to do my own thing. And so I was thinking about it. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I came home to Canada one summer and I was contacted by an old business partner, and she said, hey, I have a client. He's got this really interesting product and you should meet with him, maybe help him with some design or whatever. So I met with this gentleman, and he had this really interesting product called Chaga Mushroom Tea. And I'd never heard of it before. And he was telling me about all of the health benefits. And I'm like, this stuff is like miraculous. How have I never heard of this before? Because at that point, I thought I was into all of like the weird stuff. I was getting like fresh spirulina from Bali and putting that in my juices in the morning. And, I was using nutritional yeast before that was cool. And so I thought, oh, this is really interesting. Okay, I'm going to put a pin in it. And then a couple of days later, I was visiting some friends, and my friend Judy, she's, into shamanism and all this stuff. And we were like kind of hanging out that night. And she brought up this Chaga mushroom again. She's like, oh yeah, this amazing thing. And the First Nations have been using it for, for centuries. I'm like, that's so weird. Like I heard about this the other day. Okay. That's interesting. So kind of put a pin in it. And then again, a few days later, there was this place that I wanted to visit prior to moving overseas. It's called the Center of the Universe. So there is this area about an hour and a half outside of my hometown, up in the hills called Dead Man's Creek. And this place is called the Center of the Universe. And the story is that back in the 70s, an apprentice monk showed up from San Francisco to this area, did a bunch of energetic tests, and deemed it the center of the universe. And so since then, it's become kind of a spiritual mecca. People come from all over the world to do meditation retreats and things there. And so I was really curious and I wanted to go check it out. So my mom and dad and I got in the truck and we drove up there and met with the gentleman that owns the property, and he was giving us a tour. And, we're just checking things out and doing some water wicking and, taking off our shoes and grounding and meditating. And then he was, kind of showing us things that you can eat in the forest up there. And he looks at me and he's like, have you ever heard of chaga mushrooms? And I was like, okay, that's weird. That's like 3 times in a week. And now I'm in like the center of the universe, this very auspicious place. Okay, I think I got the hint. So that kind of projected me into, learning all things about medicinal mushrooms, specifically chaga. And so I started sourcing, the best ingredients. And I ended up creating a tea that I handmade in my kitchen in Malaysia. And I launched the product at the Bali Spirit Festival. I put all of this tea in my suitcase and flew to Indonesia, not thinking that that would be an issue, when of course it was. And thankfully I didn't go to jail, but it was a close call. One of the lessons that I've learned along the way. And yeah, I mean, fast forward a few years, it was a bumpy ride with that first product, not knowing what it was doing, not having a business plan. But I had another kind of burst of inspiration and to imagine this product line that would spin off of the tea. And I wanted to harness the magic of nature and create something really beautiful, kind of merging all of my talents in a sense, and to use all kinds of different nutraceuticals and create these multicolor powders. And I was encouraged by some mentors and some, other universal things kind of lined up. And just this past September, we ended up launching our line of what I lovingly call magic lattes. And so they're these amazing powders that you blend with the milk of choice. And so it makes a delicious, better for you latte option. And they've got all kinds of cool nutraceuticals and mushrooms, and their gourmet flavors like strawberry rose, spiced chocolate, amaretto lavender. And yeah, and that's how I got to where I am now. Long story.
Oh, what an amazing story. Wow. I just love it. It started with your personal journey and then meeting people and just all coming together in the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
And inspiring you to create these amazing products.
Yeah.
Now is that with your lattes? Now that's the newest creation, or is that one of your many different creations? You've got
It's
other
our
things too.
Yeah, so it's our latest. I obviously have ideas for other products, but I had to start somewhere. This is a small business. I had to go through all of the things, building the business plan, getting loans. So we kind of had to start small. I would have liked to have launched 9, of course, because I have all kinds of ideas, but we started with 3. There's 2 more that are in the pipeline, but we're just getting up and running. But yes, there's lots of other ideas for things, but we're just starting. We're starting here, starting fresh.
Okay. Now with that, now you really focus, on the plants and the botanicals and so forth. Now, what is it about that natural health, that being in tune with nature? What is different about that than other different health options that people can consider?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I truly believe that we are part of nature, right? And that we have been given everything that we need to heal. And unfortunately, because of the way that we have built our society, most of us are suffering with health issues. And we have things in our environment that are endocrine and hormonal disruptors. We have foods that are engineered. And for some reason, and I don't know if this is more of like it definitely is more of a patriarchal construct, but we have, for some reason, decided that manufactured and chemical and science is the way to health and longevity. And it can be in some senses, like there are lots of, amazing uses for some of these things. But unfortunately, a lot of it is ultimately hindering us. And I think now is kind of the time where it's gotten to a point where things have gotten so bad that we need to find a better way. And what I've found for myself and many, many others is that getting back to nature in the land and having more of a deeper connection to, the life force that it offers creates a much more deeper, lasting healing effect than just putting band-aids on top of things with pills and such.
Okay, just kind of getting more in tune. And now, what are there particular aspects of your different mixtures that, as far as different health ailments that they address, or what are their particular, I guess, health themes, or however you'd like to word it, the areas
Yeah.
of focus?
Yeah. So every single product has its own benefits. So the 3 that I decided to start with are, things that I feel like most people are concerned with, especially now. So the Chaga Mushroom Tea got a bit of a glow up, and it is now called spiced chocolate. So I use the same amazing wild Siberian chaga mushrooms in a really potent extract form. Chaga is a immune system modulator and an adaptogen. And I mean, for myself, gosh, I had such profound effects. I used to get sick all the time. I traveled a lot. Every time I got on a plane, I would get sick. It was always a thing. Once I started incorporating chaga extract into my diet every day, it just stopped. Like I never get sick anymore. It's amazing. So spiced chocolate is absolutely delicious. It's literally cocoa. It's a little bit spicy with some black pepper. And I mean, it's meant to be incorporated as a daily ritual. All of our products are. They're often best. You know, you get the best results when you consume them all the time, especially with something like chaga. We have a sleepy time formula or a relaxation formula called Almond Lavender Dream. And this product is meant to have before bed or, you know, even in the afternoon if you are dealing with adrenal stuff. The main medicinal ingredients are passion flower, chamomile, and lavender. So there are some really amazing floral extracts in there. The color is purple. When you make it, it's really pretty and the flavor is wonderful. There's notes of vanilla and amaretto in there. And it's just such a lovely alternative and something nice and warming and delicious that you can have before bed to help you sleep. And then our third product, called Strawberry Rose, is our beauty potion. And it has a special ingredient that I source from France. It's a nutraceutical. It's derived from wheat, but it is gluten-free. I don't do gluten, and so I can still tolerate it. But it's called Ceramicides, and what it does is help bring lipids and moisture to the skin. And it tastes like strawberries and rose. It's kind of like a very sophisticated strawberry milkshake. And it also has very high vitamin C. It has 95% of your daily requirement for vitamin C, which is really cool.
Mm. Wow, that all sounds delicious. Oh, in addition to your own health journey, do you have any other examples of kind of, guess, success stories per se of, you know, how people have turned their health around through being in touch with nature, similar to what you're doing?
hmm Well, I mean, I've seen lots of different accounts of it. And I mean, even just I've had some really incredible experiences with people having coming up to me in markets and things like when I'm selling product in person. I've had people come up and be like, "Oh, you're selling chaga. That's so cool." Um, I had one lady come up and tell me that what was it? I think it was kidney stones or something. She's like, I started drinking chaga and they disappeared. And another gentleman, he was, oh gosh, he must have been like in his 80s or something. And he was like, "Oh, wow, I absolutely love chaga." He's like, "I was diagnosed with cancer a year or two ago. And this other company that sells mushrooms reached out to me and they just sent me some, product." And he's like, "And I've been in remission. Like it just went away and the doctors don't understand why." And so I get like these, I obviously don't promote those types of things, right? Because we're not allowed to. But I've heard really, really miraculous things. But I think one of the most important aspects, so even though we can be feeding our body with more nutritious things, one of the most important aspects to healing is the mind and the spirit, because we really can change our physiology by our thoughts. It's the most difficult aspect of it, in my opinion, and it's something that I'm still working on. But it is very powerful, and I still consider that as a part of nature, right? Like as our bodies are a part of nature, and our spirit, if that's what you believe in. All of those things are just part of the natural world. And I feel like there are just so many things that are left to explore that we don't know a whole lot about, but that are very, very potent.
Mm, okay. So now how do your different lattes and things of that nature, you've got, different flavors per se for different things. How do they work in sync with other aspects of wellness?
Well, I would say the ritual aspect of wellness, right? So, one thing that we really like to promote is good habits in the way of rituals. In order to improve one's health and well being, it's really important to have consistency. You can't just, drink a magic latte and just expect to be cured. It's all about repetition and consistency. So I'm a really big proponent of rituals. And we like to share with our audience and our customers how you can incorporate these magic lattes into your daily routines in order to make it more of a ritual, right? So whether it's sipping on an almond lavender dream latte every evening before you go to bed, or having a little afternoon break with the beauty potion, maybe doing like a little bit of like gua sha or something to release tight muscles in your face, or pairing our spiced chocolate latte in the morning with a little gratitude ritual. I think those are really nice ways to kind of bring in mindfulness and to also just like slow down a little bit. And then it's just such a nice way to, yeah, just create rituals and to slow down a little bit during the day.
Okay. So all of them really help you to focus better or relax at the end of the day, whatever
Mhm.
whatever your routine is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fantastic. I love that. Now, what is for those, just kind of starting out on a wellness journey, what is really the first step in this whole process of getting back in tune with nature and really using that for optimal health?
Mhm. Well, every body is different. And I've had a lot of success with, well, so my health journey, like I did everything myself, right? My personality and my human design is around, I'm the investigator. I like to research, I like to study. And so I've spent hours and thousands of hours of my life studying my own health issues and trying different things, a lot of trial and error, a lot of trial and error. And what I wish I would have done is just straight up work with a nutritionist. I have been working recently with a girlfriend of mine who is a wonderful nutritionist, and it's really cool because her training not only encompasses food, but there is a little bit of like a mind body connection in there as well, which I think is really important because a lot of times we need to change our thoughts around food. Um, if you have been struggling and you've tried a lot of diets and things, it's a very good chance that you can develop some, poor habits, maybe some eating disorder, issues. I was a huge calorie counter, and all of those things create patterns that don't really serve us moving forward. And
Mm.
so, working with a nutritionist, it's really more personalized. There are so many different, styles of eating out there, from veganism to keto to all of these things, and it can be extremely confusing. And no body is the same, especially for women. We have very intricate hormonal systems, and many of them are not in balance at this point, just with all of the things that are in our environment. And so it's really important to do a proper assessment with somebody who's qualified to see where those imbalances are, and then create, work to have a plan to start to heal those things on a surface level, but then also doing some deeper work to heal from within.
Okay, so working on the different eating habits or what you're putting into your body in addition to the natural botanicals.
Yeah, absolutely. And having goals that are focused more around feeling a certain way rather than, looking a certain way. That's definitely been a challenge for me over the years. We're bombarded with all of these, airbrushed AI images on Instagram, and especially for women, it's very challenging, and you want to look a certain way. But the most important part is to feel well, and when you can sustain that type of wellness, then the rest of it kind of follows. But if you have a whole bunch of stuff that's out of whack, I mean, a lot of people are dealing with dysglycemia, which is blood sugar issues, kind of precursor to diabetes. It's something that I have definitely struggled with. And when you have a disorder such as that, it doesn't matter what you do. You can, starve yourself, you'll lose a little bit of weight, but it's always going to come back, or it just becomes actually basically impossible to change your body composition. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. There's ways that you can, balance some of those issues by food pairing, times a day that you're eating, incorporating some herbs such as like berberine, which I have been taking recently, which balances your blood sugar. It's essentially works the way metformin does, which is a drug for diabetes, but this is a natural version with little to no side effects. And yeah, so there's tons of stuff to go in there, but that's a little bit of what I've been doing.
Okay. So it's kind of incorporating the medicinal aspect as well, and that prevention, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, healing what is currently, ailing you, right?
Sure.
And then creating these habits, understanding how your body works in order to have lifelong long health with good habits.
Mm, okay. Fantastic. So regardless of whether you're suffering from an ailment or even if you're just want to keep up your current good health,
Mhm.
adding in these botanicals, these medicinal aspects would benefit, and really in a variety of different situations, it sounds
Mm.
like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Wow. Well, what is in store for Wild Remedies? You've got lots of different ideas, and you've got your beautiful lattes and a whole range of different products, different aspects. What is in the future? What is your vision, I guess, for
Mhm.
the future of Wild Remedies?
Yeah. Oh, there's so much. I mean, being a creative, obviously, I want to develop more products. But what's really been on my mind recently is I'm feeling very called to get even closer to the land. I am enrolling in something called forest school this summer, which I'm really excited about. So there'll be all kinds of learnings that I gather from this type of education that I will be incorporating into the business. But I would actually like to grow the ingredients that we have in our products. Right now, we source them, and I'm a huge proponent of soil health and getting the best ingredients because of the way that they were grown, and all there's so many different aspects that need to be considered in order to grow a food item to have all of the health benefits, right? We've stripped our soil from so many nutrients, and if done properly the way that we used to, the way nature intended, you can have so much more nutrition in the foods that we eat. And I would love to, start growing the herbs and, maybe the strawberries for strawberry rose, and absolutely the lavender and the chamomile for almond lavender. And yeah, so that's been, I've kind of started looking at land. There's one property in particular that I've been kind of excited about. It's a huge undertaking, but I definitely would love to get to the point where we are actually manufacturing stuff right from seed. And the stuff that we are currently sourcing is wonderful, but I would like to have more control over that process, have even more transparency there, allow people to have a real peek into the whole process from seed to box and shelf. I really love that whole aspect and think it's beautiful, and that's definitely the direction I want to take the company.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, I can't wait to see what's in store. Oh, well, as we wrap up, what do you have any words of wisdom or really thoughts as people kind of go forward into this natural health journey?
Hmm. Well, I'd say that, if you are new, um, congratulations. It is a journey. Again, there's no one size fits all. And also congratulations for, taking responsibility for your health. I feel like, if you are embracing natural health, it's probably because you've exhausted all of the, options of Western medicine, which many of us feel very frustrated with because it usually is just a band-aid solution. And the most important step in creating healing is taking responsibility for yourself and not putting that responsibility in the hands of a practitioner. You need to be an active participant in your own healing. And so if you understand that, I think that is the number one way to stepping into a health journey where you actually will have positive results.
Fantastic. Well, Krysta, how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, well, you can learn about our magic lattes at wildremediesshop.com. We can also get connected on Instagram. Our handle is wild_remedies. And yeah, we have a free book of potions you can sign up for. I've been doing lots of these, fantastic podcasts and things, and we should have those listed on our website soon. But yeah, those are kind of the best ways to get in touch at this point.
Fantastic. Well, Krysta, it's been amazing. Thanks for all that you're doing to help yourself physically with your own health and really, really paying it forward, really opening our eyes to the opportunities that nature gives us for optimal health.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was super fun.
Hey everyone, Michelle Seidling here at Food Experience Unplugged. Are you enjoying the Food Experience Unplugged podcast and are ready to ramp it up a level? Then it's time to go premium. With a premium podcast membership, in addition to all the great podcast episodes you know and love, you'll receive additional bonus content and exclusive interviews from many of our podcast guests. You'll receive a live Q&A access each month where I'll address questions pertaining to holistic health and how you can start your journey. You'll also receive weekly shorter video clips with information on tips, tricks, and strategies to get started, to build consistent habits, and to take charge of your health. Go premium today. I'll see you there.